listening to the Dynamic Women podcast. Each week, you'll be inspired by our global community of women. They'll share with you tools and stories to help you be dynamic in every area of life. Here's your host, award-winning coach, and the CEO and founder of Dynamic Women, Diane Ralston.
Hello, my lovely Dynamic Women, and welcome to the Dynamic Women podcast. I am Diane Ralston, your host, and today I have three of our amazing lifetime members of the Dynamic Women Global Club here to join me today so that you can get to know them and, we can also talk about what it means to be a dynamic woman. So I have Robyn McTague. Hello, Robyn.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. And Maria Conde here. Hello. And Cora Naylor.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. And so if you want to know more about them, jump into the show notes. Make sure that we're going to find out more about them during this episode, but I also want you to jump over to connect with them personally if you'd like. So ladies, Dynamic Women, that's the show's name. That's the community you're a part of. I want to know though, what does it mean to you to be a dynamic woman? Who wants to start us off?
I can go ahead.
Okay, Cora.
To me, being dynamic just means being aware of what's going on and open to change, not necessarily married to where you are, but life is changing, the world is changing all the time. And even when you start your business, you might go in one direction and it can morph into something else. So just being in that place where you can be open to change.
So key thing is open to change for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Maria, how about you?
For me, it is similar to that. It's about going with the flow of things and being able to just ride the waves as opposed to trying to push and pull. It just flow with everything and being able to be dynamic in that as it happens.
Yeah. So you're riding the wave and you're also being awesome at the same time.
Of course.
Because not everybody can go with the flow and also be level-headed and also show up in their brilliance. Yeah. So it's you got to master that. Totally. Okay. And Robyn.
Yeah, I think the word that I think about most with dynamic is movement. So, we're either moving forward or we're going backwards. There is no stasis in life. And we need to continually be challenging ourselves. I mean, it's not only working with our clients, but also who are we and growing into something more, right? That's our last phase of life, is that self-actualization. So unless we're doing that, we're not really fulfilling who we are, and we can't be the best that we are for our clients as well.
So being the best that we can be and always moving forward.
Yes.
So flow and change and being our best selves and really being in tune with who our best self is. So you guys did such a good job talking about what a dynamic woman is. The key thing for me in calling this community Dynamic Women is I wanted to really come up with a word that could encompass all kinds of women. The first word I wanted to use was confident women. And then I thought, oh man, the women who aren't feeling confident right now, or the women who could feel intimidated by other confident women, or the women who feel they weren't born confident, it's not going to be a fit for them. And it wasn't until we started to have the events that when I said dynamic women, that so many different adjectives came when I said, what's a dynamic woman? People are like, they're outgoing, they're a good listener, they're creative, they're analytical. We were getting everything, all the opposites, all the juxtaposed ways of being, which was super cool. And so I appreciate that you've all taken kind of the definition of this to this other place as well, in what this woman has to be in life. So how are you each dynamic in life? Maria, let's start with you.
For me, I think it comes into being eclectic. I like so many things. And sometimes it serves me well and sometimes it doesn't. Because it's hard to focus on one thing, because I like to do lots of things.
Yeah. So what does it give you to have so many things going on in life?
I learn a lot because I'm always constantly wanting to learn and grow and do something different all the time.
Yeah.
And I like change too. So that helps.
Do you think a lot of people like change and like a variety of things? No. Robyn, Cora, do you relate to that, or are you on the other spectrum?
Yeah, I can relate, and I've had to learn to narrow the focus a bit because I'm very much like you. I know so many things and can do so many things, and it's like now it's time to go deeper with those things and put a little bit of a focus, kind of shine a light on some certain things and be less interested, knowing that they're going to be there. I think that's part of it, right? We kind of go through this FOMO stuff, and then more about the being grateful for what we do have and going into that and learning the nuances and different ways we can look at the same thing. Because to me, it's all about perspective and helping to shift our perspective and change that, because things are ever changing. And with technology and everything, if you're not comfortable with that, it's going to be even more challenging for you.
Yeah. I also hear, and I could see as well, because we're also recording this in video, I could see how Maria lit up and the energy was there when she was talking about like a variety of things and all this and love change. And I'm right there with you in all of that. How about you, Cora? What are your thoughts on this like variety of things happening? And are you like that as well?
So many possibilities. There so many things are open to us in these days and age with technology and everything that we're even doing. I know in my age group, a lot of people are looking for new hobbies. So even trying different things and, not being afraid to try different things and really find the thing that you really love doing and not just getting stuck at home doing nothing when there's options out there.
Yeah. So really embracing life.
Mm-hmm.
So there's maybe the two spectrums. There's the people on the one end, like Maria, who are like, I love all this stuff and I love to do all these different things and that really makes my life rich. And the other people that are like, I do nothing. I go to work, or it's like the same day, Groundhog Day over and over. So being dynamic in your life is that in almost inviting change and being the catalyst for change is what I'm hearing for you, Maria. Cora, how are you dynamic in your life, Cora?
It's like I say, trying different things and just go as part of what we get back to too, going with the flow and being open to not getting stuck in the rut. It's really easy to, especially right now, there's some of our options are not like we used to have. We can't just do life like we used to. So how can we still enjoy the things that we like to do in our new normal, whatever that is, and still, feel fulfilled in whatever we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. The new normal is it's always changing. Whether you're kind of in the pandemic time listening to this right now, or it's there's always something happening that will change how life is. So what I'm hearing is that you kind of look for new things to do and new things to try, and you're open to that. What would you say to someone who's thinking like, oh, I'm 40, 50, 60, and I'm thinking now maybe I should take up piano, or I've always wanted to do hip hop dancing, or maybe I should try that paddle boarding thing. Maybe I should have my own podcast. Like, what do you say to someone like that?
Yeah, go for it. Try it. I know a lady that just started doing piano lessons on Zoom with another lady that lives like 4 states away from her. They just met on a Zoom call, and now she's starting, and she's in her, I think, 60s, late 60s.
Wow.
So it's never too late to start something.
Yeah, go for it. And I know in your life, you haven't been afraid of moving again and renovating and moving again and downsizing and selling and buying and getting to where you ultimately want to be in even a short period of time. So you've definitely been dynamic in life that way.
The life of an empty nester. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Robyn, how are you dynamic in your life?
I would say, being open to new information and different ways of looking at things, and going out like Cora, just doing different things and checking it out, see if it's interesting or not. And certainly there's less of the external possibilities, but there's still things that we can do, whether it's going to a new place or changing up our habits, going online to learn something different. Now we have all sorts of music and different things, and it's great in the summer when we have festivals outdoors, but it's still really beautiful to see our artists online and being able to support them. And I think that's one of the other things that's really important to me in being dynamic, is supporting each other.
Yeah. And you mentioned about being open to things and being kind of open to the world and what's happening. So how do you stay open? Or what's some tips of like, how does someone even know if they're open? How do you become more open?
One of the things we can check in with ourselves, how are we feeling when we hear something? Do we feel that defensiveness? Do we kind of shrink back? Like, what's the body language and the thoughts that are going on in our head? And so I find it's very useful to just question myself. So it's like, oh, well, maybe they do have a point, or I noticed my breath, I stopped breathing as deeply. So that's a clue to me that somewhere I'm shutting down rather than being open. So just even body language, right? Putting our hands out, putting our hands on our lap. There's a lot of breathing deeper, because when we go into stress mode, that's the only thing that we can actually do anything physiologically is breathe. And that's why we hear so much about it, but it's really truly the core principle to be able to stay more present and actually hear what we're hearing or learn what we're learning.
Yeah, isn't it funny then to think how to be dynamic in life, and dynamic in this question sounds very forward motion and very energetic and almost outgoing, extroverted in that way. But the way to that is to breathe and be self-aware.
Exactly.
And to check in with yourself. Yeah, being and doing always come up, don't they? I know, Cora, you were trained through CTI. Maria, are you a CTI trained coach as well? No, okay. Just with CTI, we talk a lot about the being and the doing. Not to say that how Robyn and Maria, how you were trained is not the same, but I just definitely know that that's like the foundation of what Cora and I were taught. And so it's so good to be reminded that the being aspect is imperative to being dynamic. So everybody, take a moment, right? Take your breath, check in with yourself. So pivoting now to the business side, how are you dynamic in your business? Who wants to kick this one off?
Well, I think part of it is being open to change. So similar, and especially with COVID, right? Here I was going to be speaking on a cruise ship, and that's not going to happen. And, it's not like it will never happen, but realizing you can do it in different ways with webinars and different platforms. And, everyone shifts and changes, and how we present things and how we connect with people. But it really comes down to the basics, but it's always that, how can I connect? How can I grow the relationship? And to me, that's the really big piece about being dynamic, is building those relationships and being open to whatever is the next piece. And like Cora said earlier, it's like maybe there's adjustments we need to make, or not only what we do, but how we do it. And so there's always tweaks and different changes we can make.
Yeah, very true, Robyn. And even with that, what Maria was talking before about riding that wave and going with the flow. So I'm hearing from you, it's that you're focused on the results in your business and the how you get there. You're okay to adjust and pivot and move to get to where you need to be. And that the forefront of it all is, how am I connecting with others?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. How about you, Cora?
Yeah, and just kind of even taking that a little farther too, is evolving. As you might start in one direction with your business, and then especially in these times, that direction might not be working. So like everyone's been saying, pivoting or evolve into something else that's going to work for the times. And you never know where that's going to take you.
True. evolving. So dynamic women aren't afraid to evolve, not afraid to change, go with the flow. And in the business, it's crucial to be able to reinvent, because the market is changing, the industry is changing, the demands of your clients are changing. Yeah, because that's how businesses and people get left behind. Maria, how about you? How are you dynamic in your business?
Well, similar to Robyn and Cora, my year, I mean, for everybody, my year in business has not been at all what I planned on January 1, including where I actually live. And, so even throughout my year, I've had different business plans every single month throughout the year. And I've had to pivot at every single moment because I have 2 different businesses, one of which I had to shut down entirely. And it's back up and running again, but every month there was a whole different business plan at that moment. And I had no idea I'd be sitting where I am right now on January 1 sort of thing.
Yeah.
Even all the visioning I do, it just wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how do you not lose your cool when what you've planned doesn't go your way, and when life throws you a curveball? Let's not even go to the pandemic, but just life throws you a curveball. How do you stay cool with your plans not happening as you wanted them to?
I think for me, a lot of it was my corporate training, because I've been in the corporate world for 30 years and leading huge teams of accountants. It changes daily for me. I was constantly putting out fires. So it was what I did for a living for a long, long time. And you just learn that I could get through all of them no matter what. And it was based on having really good relationships with people, so that your team is there with you, or, it's not just me on my own sort of thing. It was a group effort to try and get through everything. And even in my existing businesses, it's a group effort to, staff I have we're all in it together to get through.
Yeah. Any other things to add, Cora and Robyn, about how do you deal with kind of there's grief that goes along with it, with losing, not being able to keep your plans. There's frustration. I know as an A-type high achieving person, there's so much frustration when I just can't do what I want to do. Come on, people, or come on, world, or circumstances. So what are your tips, or what do you do when things go in a different direction and you're forced to make changes, or you don't reach the plans, the goals that you want because the plans have changed?
Well, you have to acknowledge the feelings. And I think that's a lot of what we don't do, is stuff it down. It's I'm just going to grit my teeth and get through it. And we actually have the time and space right now to spend some time not stuffing it down and actually looking at it and seeing, how can I get that need met some other way? With frustration or any of those kind of anger where we kind of get fidgety, doing something physical, just getting out for a fast walk, or doing something to get that movement and the hormones and everything moving through our body, and getting air into our brain so we can think again, right? Because it all shuts down. We go back into the old survival brain. Yeah. And with all the stress out there already with COVID, it's so easy to tap into that, because we're all sensitive beings. And so the more that we can be present with what's going on, and it doesn't last forever. We kind of sometimes think we're going to get stuck in it forever. Yeah. But when we actually acknowledge it, that's when it actually passes through, and then we're not stuck in it.
Yeah, because we don't want, as that saying, the issues are in the tissues. We don't want to be pushing them into our tissues and have them get stuck there and create disease. So Cora, how about you? What do you do in those moments?
Pretty much the same thing. Just take a step back.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get really busy doing things, and so we just start going forward with that plan. But if you can just stop and take a breath and, think about it and relax a little bit, get into it, you might even come up with an even better way of doing something.
True. Very true. Yeah. I can remember feeling super stuck in writing my book when I was supposed to be writing the book and wasn't writing the book. And months had passed. I'm I just don't want to write this. And so I really sat with it, and I was what is wrong here? And I had to look at when I was in flow and in resonance. And the key thing was people. I needed people. I needed the connection to other to happen at that time. And also the reason why I wasn't wanting to do it was because I was pregnant, and all I want to do is like be around people. I didn't want to be by myself. And there was this connection piece I was really wanting. And so to move the creation or the writing of my book from writing to I'm going to deliver a program, the energy shifted right away from me. But I sat with that for months because I'm a coach and I can coach myself to do this. But when I actually, that's the doer in me. But when I actually sat with it, I was like, no, how really do I need to get this done? Because I had a super big deadline, meaning I already had people buying my book that I needed to actually have a book. And so it was then that I really had to sit down and sit with it and know what was happening. So good tips, ladies. Now, with Dynamic Women, the focus is on who you are before we focus on what we do. And that's why on purpose, I haven't actually had you disclose, let the secret out of what you all do, because I want people to get to know you as people and not put you in a box and not label you with a title or anything. That's why I don't talk much about what I do in these podcasts. And so I'm curious, and being part of Dynamic Women, I know, Cora, you were part of it from like the very, very beginning, I'm pretty sure, which is back in 2013. And so I'm curious for all of you ladies, like how has the way you approach relationships changed in the past while, or in the past since becoming part of Dynamic Women, or even in how you approach relationships when you're at Dynamic Women events compared to maybe when you're at let's say a traditional networking event?
Yeah. Well, I know I always loved that part of Dynamic Women is we actually didn't really talk too much about what we did. And you really get to know the people first and build that relationship. Yeah. And then you can, decide if you want to do business later, but it's nice to not have that pressure to have to, say what you are and hand out cards and all that kind of stuff right away.
Yeah. And also as women, we connect on a different level in a different way. I won't say more because I don't want to speak to what maybe Maria or Robyn want to speak about. Maria, how about you?
Same as Cora, like, anytime I've gone out to any events or anything, it's just very, just like going for coffee at a friend's place. It's not, you're not going into the high profile, business networking event sort of thing where it's, you're having to be a certain person all the time when you walk through the door. You just show up as yourself and that's just all it is. It's very simple, right? Mm. And you just get to be who you are all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're an expert at who you are, so it's much easier.
Mm-hmm. There's no selling yourself.
Yeah, because you just have to be yourself. much easier. Robyn, how about for you?
Yeah, it's a much more relaxing way to connect rather than feel, like Cora said, the pressures. That was the word I was thinking of as well, right? Where we go in and it's like, you're looking, who am I going to connect with? Or people are like shoving cards in your face and going on to the next person. It's allowing that time to actually get to know a person on a rather that surface level a bit more, and a more well-rounded aspect of them rather than just one piece of their life. Because as we talked about, we have many different interests. So it's really fun to find out what people are passionate about. And I think that's what I look for now in other networking, is being more discerning and not just going for the sake of going. Because, often, especially as introverts, we're pushing ourselves to get out the door, but it's like, what is the outcome? Is it really the outcome that I want? And am I really building relationships, or is a lot of people just handing out cards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I was at a conference and I was sitting there having I was sitting there having my lunch. And this woman came up and said, "Oh, I don't want to bother you, but here's my card." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, keep having your lunch, but here's my card. Because I was just sitting there. We were at the lunch break. And I said, "Oh, well, I'm actually not going to take your card because I haven't met you." And I felt pretty ballsy at that moment. I was seriously just pissed off. I'm like, who are you to come over and just throw your card at me? We haven't even met. And so I said, how about when I'm done my lunch, you come back and then I actually meet you. And then she said, oh, well, I just wanted to give you my card in case you needed my services. Or you could refer someone to me. I was like, oh, well, I'll let you know right now that I refer people who I actually know, and I only hire people I actually know. And so you can keep your card because I will never call you because I don't know you. And then she kind of looked at me like, oh, okay, like you're serious, and she walked away. And then I was eating my lunch and I felt a bit bad. And so after I was done my lunch, I went over to her and I said, hi, I'm Diane. Nice to meet you. And I gave her the opportunity to introduce who she was. And then, later that night, I ended up having a conversation with someone that lasted like an hour where I was just listening to her and supporting her. And not once did I shove a card down her throat. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's just that different vibe. And that woman that I just had a conversation with ended up buying a product from me and ended up sending me a long thank you email afterwards and connected me with someone else. And so approaching relationships in this way, like all of you have shared about, being a person first. This was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to start Dynamic Women is after having my daughter and getting back into networking, I think that put me more in the being space. And so to show up and have people be like, hi, I'm so-and-so, and here's my card and buy from me. I'm just like, who are you? Like, you didn't even see me. Like, you talked at me, you didn't see me. I want to be seen. I want to feel that connection. And I was also very pained to hear that clients were being overlooked, were not even given the time of day because they mentioned what they do. And they were instantly stuck in a box and almost made worthless based on their title. Mm-hmm. Or it was instant negative reaction because the person did the exact same thing as that other person or already had that person in their life and so thought, well, I don't need you, or I had a bad reaction to that type of person. So real estate agents were not becoming friends, right? Or maybe I'm not dogging the industry at all, but MLMs, network marketing, relationship marketing people were not even spoken to. And that really upset me because I know how special the people were that I was meeting, and to hear that people were being treated as worthless or not enough or not worthy of having even the conversation, that it pissed me off. And I thought, I can either be mad about this or I can do something about it. And so that's why I felt like I needed to do something about this conversation with this woman. That's why I started Dynamic Women back in 2013, because I was just fed up. And it's really cool because this is a space where realtors hang out, competing industry people talk. Like, really, all four of us could serve the exact same person, right? Using our own modality of how we do it, we could all serve the same person. So we could all be in direct competition. Did that stop me from having all of you on here? No, because you're Robyn and Maria and Cora, and I wanted everyone to get to know you. So let's go to this question. What's a favorite moment from your time at Dynamic Woman, from an event, from a special event, from an online event, from the online community, like anything, a special moment, a favorite thing? Kind of leave it up to you. I like hearing these little stories.
Well, it's not any special event, but I always liked it, all the events, when we have the little mini mastermind sessions with people and break out into little groups and work on issues. It's fun I love brainstorming with people. So I really enjoy that, whether it's at a meeting or a special event.
Yeah. Awesome. So the masterminding piece and supporting each other. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Maria, how about you?
I like the masterminding piece too, but I also like the getting out of the house as a single parent. For me, just, being able to go out with adults, and connect with like-minded women was a really great feeling. Just filled me up.
Yeah. Awesome. And filling you up is great. And one of the latest things that I've been really kind of preaching when I get on my soapbox around self-care and prioritizing yourself is serving others from your saucer, not your full cup, but your saucer. So that means that your cup is so overflowing that there's excess that's spilled in the saucer. And so it's easy to give from that space. And and connection to other women is so key. And connection to people in general is key.
Yeah.
Okay, Robyn, how about for you?
Two things come to mind. One is our dynamic here, where we get together and spend a whole day really going through past year, going into the new year, and sharing, because I think the shares there are really deep and personal. And so it's a deeper way that we connect, because we're there for all day too. So that helps. And then the other thing is when we've had the parties at the Women's Club, University Women's Club, and it's really fun to celebrate, right? I don't think we celebrate enough. And I think it's really important to do that. And so that's lots of fun.
Yeah. So that shows me what I need to be pushing more as another party. Yeah, it'll be an online party next. I'm trying out a few things in the next little bit around doing some, like a ladies' night in, and doing some virtual games and stuff. And not the typical ones that you've all used at conferences as icebreakers, not those ones that you roll your eyes at. So stay tuned for that. Cora, for you in the masterminding piece, and everyone, make sure you're jumping on that first Wednesday of the month. We always have at noon Pacific time, a call. So you can jump on for an hour. Our lifetime members get to join in a complimentary, as well as our annual and monthly members. Guests can come for the first time for free. And sorry, you can't get out of the house for those, Maria, but we'll work on it. And I know you're going to be a flight away now, so we'll have to talk about making that happen. So as we wrap this up, put a nice tidy bow on it. What would you say to someone listening who says, "Oh, but I'm not a dynamic woman"? What would you say to her to say, like, you are, and whatever? Or what's one thing that someone can do when they're not feeling very dynamic this past week or two or month or whatever? What would you say to someone, like a little tip that you'd like to give? Maybe it's a book that they should read, a process to go through, an action that they should do. So what would you say, what would you say to a woman who's not feeling very dynamic, or what would you say to a woman for something she could do to be more dynamic?
I'm the empath, and I just want to give her a hug. But we can't do that. I mean, of course, I would say you are dynamic. But I also try and encourage people to just take that one little step at a time towards something that fills them up and makes them feel good.
So take one step towards something that makes you feel good and fills you up.
Yeah.
And make sure there's someone there telling them that they're awesome.
Yeah.
We should always have people in our lives that will tell us that we're awesome, even when we flubbed it, or even on days when we definitely know that we're not. Not stepping it up. Okay. Cora, how about you?
Yeah, and if possible, do something active to help up your emotions. Put on a good song, dance around. That always seems to bring you up. Everybody's got a favorite song, so that can be emotion. Oh, I've got so many. It's hard to say, but say Bon Jovi. Anything Bon Jovi is good.
Oh, there we go. So you crank Bon Jovi and you dance around to get the energy going, get your mood up, put you in the right headspace.
Yeah.
Dynamic. Awesome.
Always look better.
Good tip. And that's something everyone can do, right? And everyone, like Maria said, everyone can do something for themselves that will help boost them up and take care of them. How about you, Robyn? What would your comment be into this question?
I like the music. I often get people to get a personal song, but the other thing is gratitude. There are things that we have, like even being able to see and hear, like there is so much to be grateful for, fresh water. There's a wonderful video. I'm trying to think of his name, But if you just Google on YouTube gratitude video, I'm sure it'll come up. And I watch it every morning. It's like 5 minutes.
Oh.
And it just talks about, and it shows people from all over the world. And it's just a beautiful little video and just brings me into gratitude.
Nice. Would you, Robyn, would you send me the link for that and I'll pop it in the show notes?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll add that in as well. And so just to wrap things up and to let the cat out of the bag, in a couple of sentences, ladies, can you tell us what you do, who you serve, what results you get, whatever you want to say in a few sentences, just to kind of round this out and let everybody know exactly who you are, what you do. Cora?
Sure. Hi, I'm Cora Naylor. I am a coactive coach and emotion co-practitioner, helping women get focused on themselves so they can have more fun and fulfillment after their kids are grown.
Awesome. Thank you, Cora. And Maria?
I am a life and business strategist, and I help people make that leap from employee to entrepreneur and building out a business that's based more on purpose and fulfillment. And, I don't want you building another job that's going to make you grumpy to go to every day. So it's about building out a purpose-led and freedom-based business.
Yes. Grumpy people are static women. We are dynamic women. We want to be happy. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Maria. And Robyn, how about you?
I help entrepreneurial women understand what motivates them and who they truly are so that they can have a life they love, both in business and in their personal life, and not sacrifice one for the other.
Yeah, exactly. And so these are 3 of our amazing powerhouse dynamic women members, and I appreciate you 3 being here. Thank you so much for sharing of yourselves, sharing your expertise with us, and for sharing who you are with our listeners. And for any of our listeners who are women, I encourage you to jump on one of our monthly calls. I'll put the link in the show notes so that you can come in. Remember, guests are complimentary their first time. And then if you want to come again, we ask you to join as a member. And then you get to continue to connect with amazing women like Robyn and Maria and Cora. And so thank you again, ladies, for being here. Very insightful. I appreciate it. And so I encourage all of our listeners, jump into the show notes to connect further with these ladies. And you like the show? Subscribe so that you don't miss out on hearing from our experts. Normally, I alternate between interviewing an expert or interviewing a dynamic woman and me sharing something, some learnings, some inspirational, something to persuade you to live a more dynamic life and be more of a dynamic woman. So I thank you all again for being here, and hope to have you at one of our events soon, as well as all of our listeners. So thanks again. Bye guys, stay dynamic.
Thank you, Dynamic Women, for joining us today. Please hop on over to iTunes to subscribe and leave us a review. Who do you know who needs to hear our message? We'd love it if you'd share our channel with your friends and family. If you're ready to be more dynamic, have more balance and more success, head over to www.dynamicwomenclub.com/free gift for your Key to Success book. Stay dynamic.